Hey everybody, today is September 8th, 2023. Yes. I'm Gene.
And I'm Zane.
And you're hanging with Uncle.
How's it going?
I'm doing really well, man.
Good.
I am.
Honestly, same here. It's been a good week.
It's been an interesting week, but I gotta say from the very start, before we do anything,
yes,
please hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
We're really trying to grow our channel, and click that thumbs up. It's that like button. It really helps us spread the word out.
And hit the notification bell whenever we go live or whenever we post our videos. You can click the notification there and go right to it, baby.
Yes.
That's the idea. Make sure you click it.
So, I think first thing, just kind of let everybody know I'm leaving again.
Yes. This man likes to go places.
I'm going to Hawaii again. We're going for 2 weeks, so this will be our last show for a couple of weeks.
Which is fine. The break is pretty solid,
Yeah, so, I'll be back in a couple of weeks, and I'll be back to do the Monday show on the 25th.
It'll be a good time for you guys to catch up with old episodes in the VODs also, so check those out. Trying to sell it out here, Gene. No, we're good. So I really don't know what happened this week. I had a pretty new week this week. I started a new job. I'm a trainer now. I actually work in like a office setting with a bunch of other women. I'm actually the only guy there. The girlfriend's there. She's the HR director, so it's cool. Like, I'm all excited. Like, they're all excited that I'm there. They're like new energy and everything. They're like, yeah, I'm super pumped, dude. Like, I get trained all next week, so it's like.
Okay, so I'll say one thing that pissed me off this week is this thing called PragerU.
Okay.
And PragerU is an unaccredited university. Just think of Trump University, and that's Prager.
Okay.
And they are
MAGA 101.
being funded, directed, led by whatever word you want to use by Betsy DeVos, our former education secretary, and we know what a piece of shit Secretary of Education she was.
Yeah, we do. Sure do.
So I saw one video being peddled by PragerU with Christopher Columbus on the boat, sailing across the ocean, thinking to himself out loud, just kind of pondering, slavery's been going around since the beginning of man. It's happened on every corner of the globe. So let's go. Come on, let's go. It's okay, it's our way to justify it.
It's okay.
But you also want to preach that this dude was a Christian, and you're a hypocrite, because if that's really what you're peddling, Prager University, go back and read the book of Exodus, where Moses freed the Jews from slavery and learn how God really felt about it. And I don't think he would say, yeah, that's justified, that's okay, let's go do it.
I was thinking the same story. I literally was thinking of the same story. I learned from that. Like, I know about the stories. So I just love throwing it back at him. Like, so what about this situation in your book that you read that's really awesome, that is the best way ever? Like, I get you, dude. Like, they don't need to whitewash history. That's kind of the idea here. They're using the whiteout and just writing over a few things here.
They are intentionally trying to mislead and lie to our children about history, because they are so terrified of what the truth looks like, and they only feel guilty and want to change that because they still feel that way. They still feel like slavery is okay. That's why they're going to put this information out and teach our kids, yeah, slavery is okay.
Newsflash, it's not okay.
Then I saw another one where Frederick Douglass was talking to these two little white girls, but that part of it was muted out. I couldn't hear it, but I'm just like, oh my God, I can only wonder what you're pushing with this narrative, right?
Yeah.
So you have a fake university pushing fake stuff out there. So don't get caught up in Prager University. It's bullshit. It's a scam. It's worthless, and it will make your children stupid.
It sounds like bullshit. I mean, again, we've talked about history before on the show multiple times. Like, you can't erase it because you'll end up repeating it, and that's kind of what's happening here. I don't know why slavery isn't even a conversation anymore.
We can never. It's been over for since 1863 when the Emancipation Proclamation was given, right? And still people feel uncomfortable about having the conversation. And the thing is, we're never going to move on unless we first embrace that it happened and what we can do to move on from it instead of trying to sweep it under the rug and put out this bullshit like PragerU's trying to do.
I don't understand the issue of teaching it. Like, why do you have an issue about teaching that? Like, for only one particular reason, obviously, but like, it's history, one thing for sure. It's factual. You're not afraid. If you're afraid to speak the truth, why are you trying to lie about it? Like, what is the purpose of covering up that? Because, like, who are you going to enslave, honestly? Like, right now, if they were to put, like, slavery back into, like, law, whatever, for saying, like, who's going back into slavery? I'm not fucking going back.
I tell you what, man, I know who they'd be looking for, and I'm tired of fitting the description.
I mean, you're going to be in the ground if I'm going back.
Right?
Sure.
So, it's like I'm offended, again, that you're insulting my intelligence to think that this is okay, and the other side of the coin that our children need to hear. Exactly. No, they don't need to hear lies. They need to hear truth, and you need to stay the hell out of education because you obviously have no business being involved in it.
I couldn't agree more, man. Like, again, it's just like, if you really were to put that into, like, concepts, show up at my door, bro. Honestly. Like, if that were actually the case and you want me to go back, make me go back.
And if slavery was okay, let's say, from what I remember, under slavery, we were property, not people.
Why would you?
We didn't have any right to vote, and when they did say, okay, you do, but you're only worth 3/5 of a person. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that is the mentality that came out of slavery, and that is what PragerU is still trying to push down now and justify and say it's okay.
There's just no reason for it at all, honestly. This conversation is dumb.
To all of our listeners out there that have kids, be aware of your school boards, and if you hear PragerU come up in any conversation, oppose that vehemently.
Facts. Like, that's absolutely the case, because here we go, man. We're fighting over our education of our children now. That's insane.
And, speaking of fighting over things, I'm glad that in state courts, criminal courts, that cameras are allowed. We got to watch the OJ trial, right? I'm glad we're going to watch the Georgia RICO trial be televised. I watched the opening arguments or motions or whatever you want to call it being argued in front of the judge, Judge McAfee. And I can tell, number one, the lawyers were making strong arguments for their clients, but there was no legal defense. So what was going on, you had two of the defendants that had asked for a speedy trial. Ken Cheesebro, who was one of the White House attorneys, and crazy-ass release the Kraken bitch, Sidney Powell. They want a speedy trial, and, the judge was like, okay, under Georgia law, you got it, October 23rd, right? And now you have Cheesebro making a motion to have his case severed from Powell because he wants nothing to do with that lunatic. But I like Judge McAfee's ruling. He didn't say, let me take it under advisement and then come back, a day or two later with a written response.
Right.
He made his decision old school, right there on the bench.
On the fly.
And said, basically in the interest of judicial economy and having to waste taxpayer money trying this court individually 19 times, your motion is denied. Your speedy trial will go together, and this case will not be severed from one another.
There you go.
And
just as it should be.
So it's like you get to see that now. There's no spin. You can't lie to me about what happened. I watched it.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be on TV. But again, I think this is where we bring up that conversation that we had that one time where we talked about should it be televised or not. Like, will televising these hearings incite things? Because it does it doesn't.
It might, but you know what? I think the abandonment a lot of those supporters felt after January 6th when they were not pardoned. He left them in jail. They're still being convicted. He's not going to win re-election, and he's not going to be able to pardon them. There's a lot of resentment going on from people who felt duped by what this guy asked them to do.
The numbers of people voting for him are still showing that he's still that favored. So I don't know how that feels yet. How strong of a case that is, because it sucks. He has those type of followers, Gene. It's literally a cult. Like,
again, if I just go by history, like you say, in 2016, he won the Electoral College but lost the popular vote by 3 million.
True.
In 2020, he lost by 8 million by the popular vote. So with everything going on and with reasonable minds of people that are looking at the facts and looking at the facts based on what they are instead of, what the rest of the sheep are telling them to think, you're going to have smart, intelligent people not supporting him. And I think that's going to carry a lot of weight, and Biden maybe wins by 9 or 10 million this time.
Okay. Well, hopefully,
and that's just my opinion.
That's what I'm hoping so. But he still has that followership that is just they do ride to the grave for him. They're
blind, man. They are the sheep.
Yeah, they literally exist. Posts online, people talking about it. You can name it: TikTok, Twitch, whatever, Twitter. I've been through it all. There are still people who say, "Oh yeah, my mom will," or "My mom says they're going to," or "Yeah, my boyfriend will, but I don't care." There's still people who believe in this man. It's absolutely insane.
Well, I think what's going to help are the down ballot races, because when you have people running for Congress or the governorships that are up for re-election, and the down ballot races that are trying to say, look, I don't support this guy, and you're going to have the supporters of those candidates say, I don't support this guy. You're going to have what happened in Georgia, where Brian Kemp got more votes than Joe Biden did in a statewide race, but yet 26,000 people did not vote for Trump that voted for Brian Kemp, their governor. That is the kind of disconnect people are feeling, just as looking at evidence in the Georgia election. I'm not voting for this guy. And again, the down ballot race having Herschel Walker attached to that didn't help much.
So just seeing the ripple effect of the states, you truly believe that these numbers are declining because of the change.
I do. I mean, and look what's happening, say, for example, in Wisconsin, where you have now the Democrats, well, not the Democrats, but you have a more liberal-leaning court versus a conservative court, and where the voting population in the state of Wisconsin is divided about 50-50 down the line. Why is it that Republicans control 3/4 of the seats in the state legislature? Because of gerrymandering. And they've drawn the districts to where, again, you have the electors picking their voters instead of the voters getting to pick who they want to be their elected representatives.
Got it.
And notwithstanding Roe's going to be on the ballot, look what happened in those red states of Kansas and Kentucky and Ohio, where they voted to codify Roe. And who's taking responsibility for putting those judges on the court for overturning Roe? Cadet bone spurs.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of people that I think are just look at the movement of what's going on. Those are enough people that are tired of him. That, just in my opinion, I could be wrong. It's just what I feel. I think the trend is going. I mean, you guys let us know what you're thinking. Leave your comments down there.
You're a numbers-based man, and numbers never lie. So honestly, I based on the facts of what you present, I mean, I would say that's a reasonable idea to think it that way, of course, because like people are still believing him, yes, in the vote, but what if less people are voting for the others as well, or just voting overall? I don't know, but like the percentages that they show for like voting numbers, he's still well in the lead for Republicans.
So again, that's amongst the Republican Party.
Yeah, exactly that.
When it gets to a national election, no,
different numbers.
It's not going to happen.
Gotcha.
You have way too many independent voters that are going to vote for Joe Biden and not Donald Trump. Not Cadet Bone Spurs.
No, that makes sense. Nice. Okay.
I mean, and that's just, those are the numbers. I mean, I think, again, Biden wins comfortably. I mean, just like he did last time. I think he maybe even improves his numbers a little bit in the Electoral College.
Why not? I mean, we'll have to have another 4 years of Lazy Joe.
And not to mention, look at all the things he's done, right? So now we got a cost of living increase, a decent cost of living increase on Social Security.
Yep.
Look how many drugs now we're going to be capped, and Medicare is going to have the ability to negotiate drug prices. He's doing so much for the people of this country, building it from the bottom up and the middle out, because we already know trickle down does not work. That is a scam. And Rich, really, I mean, if I could just have a few minutes to say, again, why I think I hate trickle down, maybe the easiest way for people to understand. You have billionaires that have lobbyists that go to Washington to make laws on behalf of the billionaires. And you have that never-ending cycle of billionaires spending our tax dollars that they get on lobbyists to make sure that they are the ones who succeed and thrive and benefit, leaving people like you and me out. And then want to say, once you have to start getting on food stamps, say, see, look, there's a problem, he needs help. When you have, what is it, 90% of the wealth in this country owned by the top 1%, you're going to tell me food stamps is really the issue?
It is. They're getting fat off food stamps, Gene.
So I'm just like, wake up and stop believing that crap.
Exactly that. I mean, they're just attacking. They're attacking the wrong angles. It feels like. I don't know. I don't understand why you would want to take away those things. Like, why would you want to take away Social Security overall? Like, it wouldn't benefit so many Americans.
Why would you vote for somebody that wants to take away your Social Security?
Period.
Because I'm a sheep and oh my God, I can't vote for the Democrats because they won't protect my Social Security.
I don't know, man. That's kind of insane.
Right.
I don't know. I do have something that I wanted to throw out there. We normally want to do a pay yourself kind of segment for you guys. Don't forget, I got paid today. Don't forget to pay yourself. To save some money on medication. I think medication is a big deal. It affects a lot of Americans. The reason why I bring this up is that Mark Cuban came up with a website called Cost Plus. It is a website that has a no middleman cost to it, no price or any for games or huge drives or anything like that. Medications that are normally around $250. I'm just scrolling through the roster here. $1,600 are reduced down to $200, $35, and $13 on their website.
Pay yourself. Stop spending so much money.
Plenty of other medications on their list here that they have, and I think this is an ultimate pay yourself for just you guys who listen to us and maybe have medications that need to
definitely.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think it was a really cool thing. It just popped in my head right now because I never thought about it at work. But Cost Plus, Mark Cuban, Cost Plus. Check it out. It's not a sponsorship or anything like that. I just thought it was a cool thing for you guys to check out and to see if you have medications on the list on there that you need that are maybe too expensive for you to afford, that are maybe reduced down to an affordable price.
But if you want to kick us down something, Mark,
yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, Mark, I got you. But I just saw it the other day. This drug alone here, vancomycin. Vancomycin. It's a generic vancomycin, HCI. Sorry, I'm not a doctor. $679 retail price, $34.10.
Check it out, everybody.
It's cool. Anyways, moving on.
Anyway, yeah. So I want to talk about the grand jury.
Okay.
So the grand jury convening over the January 6th incident, in D.C. under Tanya Chutkan's jurisdiction, who's overseeing all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're still meeting, and the question is why?
Mm-hmm.
And there could be any number of reasons. So Cadet Bonesburst has already been indicted and arraigned. You cannot add any more charges or add evidence to what he's been charged for. He's constitutionally protected from that.
Mm-hmm.
But if there are new crimes that commit, he could be further charged on those crimes. Maybe that's why they're meeting. Maybe they're meeting over the grift, his election defense fund, where he made, I forget what, like $500 million or something like that in a week.
Jeez.
And
holy shit.
Not a penny of that was used on election integrity defense.
Of course not.
Mark Meadows got kicked down a few mil. Melania got some money. Trump put a bunch of money away. His kids got a bunch of money. The list goes on. You can look it up and see this.
I'm sure it'll come up right on the feed. There you go.
Right? I mean, but the funny thing is, it's the same thing Steve Bannon got convicted for, right? He grifted millions of dollars from people, let's just say what it is. He stole money from people saying, I will build the wall for you, donate to me. And he didn't spend one penny on trying to build a wall. And when he was arrested on the yacht with one of his billionaire Chinese citizen friends. And the only reason he's out is because Cadet Bonesburst pardoned him, because he was convicted for that. So if he was convicted for that, and now you have Cadet Bonesburst who could be prosecuted for that, because that falls under wire fraud and interstate commission, because that travels through state lines, right? So we're here in Arizona. What if we donate and, he lives in Mar-a-Lago, but somebody who lives in Minnesota donates? Interstate commerce. And that's why it falls under federal jurisdiction. Maybe they're going to prosecute him for that.
Well, who knows?
Maybe they're looking into the Willard Room, right? The War Room, which they all met on January 5th.
Yep, the night before.
Where Giuliani was there, and Mike Flynn, and Roger Stone, and Sidney Powell, and Jenna Ellis, and all these other people that met, coordinating how to kick off the next day in January 6th. Maybe they're meeting over that, because those people have not been charged yet either, right?
Right.
Or maybe they're looking into, hopefully what I want to see is the sitting members of Congress that were involved in this. Because if you remember, January 4th, Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out of the White House, meets with the press, and says, we just had a great meeting. Here's our plan. Call your local legislators, and let them know, right? What was the whole plan? The whole plan was to kick it back to the legislators.
Oh God!
Because that's what they wanted Mike Pence to do, right? So, and who knows? Maybe like the guys who perpetuated, who took the act in furtherance of it, like Paul Gosar and Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, who objected to the certification of certain states. Maybe they had a price to pay for it. Maybe they were part of that meeting on January the 4th.
Who knows?
Who knows? So
it's so insane.
There are so many different things the grand jury could be looking at.
The butler had the cudgel in the basement.
Right. And all those are related to January the 6th.
You got to put the items, got to put the people, you got to find the plan. It's premeditated. They had it the night before. They were thinking about it. You got to include all them into the crime.
That's called a conspiracy, a meeting of the minds.
And that's crazy.
So the question is, did they take an overt act in furtherance of that conspiracy, and I would say yes.
I wouldn't even say conspiracy. It was a plan. Like,
well, that's what
is that the same? Is it the same kind of a thing?
It is. Yeah, it is. Okay. It's like you and I were agreeing to this plan to commit a crime.
Yeah.
Except legally, it's just called a conspiracy.
It's called conspiracy. Okay. I always thought like conspiracy, just like never solved, like ooh spooky ghosts, like that kind of thing.
No, that's not. It is a plan. It's just that's the criminal legal term.
Learning something new and hanging with them. Yeah. Words have different meanings. Hey, yeah. English. No, I mean, I totally agree with you though. Like if all of that lines up, which we're gonna find out soon, hopefully, right? I'm
just gonna sit back and wait to see
watch paper. I'm gonna say we're just gonna have popcorn and watch. And just watch like people just crumble. It's gonna be dramatic for sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be dramatic. So all these people on TikTok are gonna complain.
So we know the grand jury's meeting again. What are they looking at? Is it evidence they've seen before? Is it new evidence that's being presented?
They're still looking at evidence, aren't they?
Are they still interviewing people? And that would tell us a lot if we knew who was going into the building to meet where the grand jury is.
I feel like they would announce if they're being interviewed. They're that cocky. I don't know, man.
Well,
I can't believe Biden's government's coming after me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all over Twitter. I promise you, if one of them gets pulled, that's exactly what
happens. That's what I'm saying. It would be. I'm curious to see if any other people will be going in to talk in front of the grand jury. I just want to wait and see. Again, I'm not, speculating on anything, but those sure are all the possibilities that I can think of, because these are all the conversations we've had off camera.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've
talked about it before.
Right.
We just wanted to find a better time to talk about it, and I think this is a good time. But especially with all the things that we've talked about prior, like again, we've brought up on the show, and I'm sure you guys have listened. We've talked multiple things about this and all the connections that they all have within the conspiracy. Like it's not even just like the conspiracy beforehand. It's just even during January 6th. Like the text that they sent about locations and there's so much more. That's what I want to find out too. I'm actually kind of feasting
when the grand jury is all said and done.
Yeah.
And everybody is indicted that's going to be indicted. Then, I'll for me, I'll have a more complete picture. And
all we can do is see what happens.
And that's it. Again, the grand jury is secret. They're presented with evidence, not me. I can't say what they should or shouldn't done because I haven't seen anything.
Right, exactly that. It's just what if, but they're still doing something. That's the bottom line. Something will come up about this, and it will be a domino effect for sure.
It definitely.
There's no doubt.
Without a doubt.
Without any.
Just wait and see. That was very interesting to me this week with the grand jury, but. Again, just for my legal mind, it's like all these different scenarios are going on.
That's why I ask you about a lot of these political things. I don't know jack shit. I don't know shit about. You know that. I normally ask you questions so I can understand things a little better because I really don't know much about it. Again, you've helped educate me about it. So
anyway, like I said before, way back in November, don't waste your time. And here we are now in September, almost a year later. And I'm like, okay, now it's time to start paying attention. This is what's going on.
Yeah. Nope, they're just going to wait on it. I'm like, all right. I did it.
So here we go.
Yep,
and the thing to remember is, in my opinion, I've heard this defense, well, they could have done this 2.5 years ago, right? That has nothing to do with it. The only thing that matters is that has a crime been charged prior to the statute of limitations expiring? That is the only thing that matters. I could be the biggest asshole in the world and wait till 5 years, 362 days before doing something. It doesn't matter as long as it's done within the statute of limitations. There is nothing that says a prosecutor must bring a trial prior to the statute of limitations. It doesn't work that way. So don't be misled by the stupid stuff about, the ignorant things that are going on. Really. Don't fall for that stuff.
Yeah, and we've talked about their tactics and how the scapegoat this and the delays of that and even everything that you've gone over. Right. It's just, I don't understand how you could believe in this party anymore. I guess we can just call MAGA a party, in a way, because
they're a terrorist organization, in my opinion. But anybody that openly calls for the abolishment of the Constitution, they're a terrorist organization.
There, no sugar-coated attached.
Right.
No powdered sugar, no that.
So, anyway, it's time for our dumbass.
Yeah, we're going to have to get it done really quick. I actually have a really nerdy, weird one. It's kind of like a, hey, make sure you treat your employees right because it might bite you in the ass kind of deal. Riot Games, creators of Valorant and League of Legends, they have a thing with their Valorant team. It's a series where they play just like NBA. Play a season, bottom team gets demoted, best team in their D-League gets promoted, right? Yeah, right. Cool, you're coming in and playing. Then they change it to 12 teams. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to do 12 and extend the roster to 2 more so we can just have the best 2 teams from the challenger move up. Like, sweet, awesome, we'll do that instead. Never mind, we're going to run pull that. So these 2 teams worked really hard all season long to win and be prosperous. And so not only did one team win the title, the other team got second place. They won some World Cup, I guess, like that. That got them into being that promotion as well. Which was, they were all prepared, excited, getting to be the professional players. And they yoinked it from them. And then instead of going back to the old ways to where they would replace them with the bottom 2 teams, they kept everything the same. They're going to stay down in the D-League and not promote them at all. So, obviously, owners are pissed. Players are absolutely pissed off.
Yeah.
Make sure you treat your employees well, because it may bite you in the ass in the future. And Riot Games is a dumbass for doing this, because their Valorant scene is huge. That's like the NBA not expanding.
Right.
Like, imagine if the NBA had its original, core teams that it had instead of expanding. Or the NFL. Or any of the other organizations that have massive teams.
I mean, I can think of organizations that have expanded just since I was a kid following basketball. Mm-hmm. So that means the Spurs never would have won a title.
Never.
The Rockets never would have won a title.
Nope.
The Mavericks never would have won a title.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and these are big upcoming teams too. They're owned by their own way as well, by being owned by internet celebrities, influencers. There's a guy named Moist Critical. He has his team Moist Games, which is pretty funny, but that's what Moist Gaming is what they're called. And then the co-owner, his name is I lost it, but he also is a big influencer on YouTube, and he's also partnered in that as well. So it's like the team dynamics are different. They're not owned by huge corporations. They're owned by influencers, which they are able to give more to these players than what others have struggled with. So people are liking the change in the direction it's going, but again, Riot pulled that rug out. So
damn
dumbasses.
My dumbass of the week is Peter Navarro. He's a former White House employee. I guess, consultant to Cadet Bone Spurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he ignored a lawful subpoena by Congress, and today was convicted for ignoring a lawful subpoena to Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I call him a dumbass is because he's acting so entitled. Like his white privilege entitlement.
Oh, God.
Complaining about how he knew this was going to be this way. But, we're going to appeal this. Well, number one, dumbass. What are you going to appeal? You didn't call any witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Your attorney didn't cross-examine anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The jury came back in 4 hours and convicted you. What are you going to appeal? You're a dumbass.
Yeah.
And I remember when he was arrested and how he was complaining about how they put shackles on me. Well, what do you think they do to people that are arrested? You refuse to cooperate. They come, they put handcuffs on you, and they arrest you.
Man,
so take your white privilege and stick it up your ass, Peter Navarro. You're a dumbass.
Absolutely deserved.
Right?
That's so insane.
I'm just telling you, man. I'm sick of this dude. I'm so glad he was found guilty. And again, I want to say Peter Navarro was involved at the Willard War Room. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe some time.
Maybe, I don't know.
We'll find possibility.
I'll wait for the paperwork.
We'll see. We're waiting.
Anyway, that's all the time we have for this week.
I'm Zane.
And I'm Gene.
And it's been Hanging with Uncle.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
You guys have a good one. We'll see you soon.
Be kind to each other. Be safe. And remember, we're in this together. No man is in this by himself.